changing the way you see yourself. Have you ever looked around and thought, this isn't what I imagined? The world around you, the life you're living, doesn't it feel like something's missing? It's almost like you're not seeing the world for what it truly is. You're seeing it through a lens built from years of your own experiences, biases, and self-limiting beliefs. Imagine that for a second. Everything you believe about yourself, the stories you tell yourself, the limitations you think you have. What if none of it were true? What if these beliefs, these barriers you built in your own mind, were nothing more than illusions? What if I told you that by changing how you see yourself, you could change everything, your life, your happiness, your potential, all of it? In fact, this is what Stoicism, the ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time, teaches us. Turning dreams into reality. Picture this. You're standing before a blank canvas, and on that canvas, you can paint your perfect life. Your dreams, success, happiness, fulfillment, they're all within reach, waiting for you to create them. But then, you blink, and the image fades. It's like reality comes crashing in. Doubts, fears, insecurities, they flood your mind. Why can't this dream become your life? Why does it feel so distant, so out of reach? Is it because you're not good enough? The truth is, it's not about being good enough. It's about how you see yourself. The lens through which you view your life is clouded with doubt and limitation. And that's where the problem lies. You've conditioned yourself to believe in those limitations. But here's where Stoic philosophy comes in. Stoicism teaches us that the world doesn't need to change for you to be happy. In fact, the world doesn't need to change at all. You need to change the way you perceive yourself, the way you respond to everything around you. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest philosophers and emperors, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This is the essence of Stoicism. When everything around you feels chaotic, when your dreams seem like a distant star you'll never reach, remember this: the only thing you have control over is how you respond. And your response, the way you think, the way you perceive, is the story of your life. That means your thoughts aren't just passing emotions. They are the essence of who you are. And the way you choose to react to the world shapes your entire reality. The choice is yours. So, let's talk about your choice. What will you do with that power? Will you let your fears and doubts define who you are? Or will you take that first step forward, even when the path is unclear, even when the future is uncertain? Because here's the thing. Your dream life isn't going to happen by waiting for the perfect moment. It will happen when you take action, when you move forward with discipline, with courage, and yes, with failure. Failure? Yes, failure. It's part of the process. Failure is not the end of the story. It's the beginning. It's where growth happens. Take Thomas Edison as an example. He faced over 1,000 failures before he finally created the light bulb. 1,000 times he fell, and yet he didn't see those failures as setbacks. He saw them as lessons, as stepping stones on the path to success. As he famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Now, think about your own life. How do you handle failure? How do you face obstacles when they come up? Because trust me, they will come up. They always do. But what will define you is how you respond to them. Stoicism teaches us not just to look at the world as it is, but to see it for what it can become through your own effort, through your own action. It's about seeing opportunity in every challenge and seeing growth in every failure. When everything around you feels dark, when your dreams seem impossible, remember that it's not the world that needs to change. It's how you choose to view it, how you choose to respond. So, what's your response going to be? Will you stay stuck in the limitations you've imposed on yourself? Or will you break free, change how you see yourself, and step into the life you've always dreamed of? The choice is yours, and that choice will define the rest of your story. The path forward. When you start changing the way you see yourself, everything shifts. You will notice opportunities where others see only obstacles. You will find strength where others feel weakness. The power to change your reality has always been inside you, waiting for you to recognize it. And remember this: you are not alone in this journey. Everyone has their struggles, their fears, their doubts, but those who succeed are the ones who choose to see themselves differently, who choose to act, to learn, to grow. The world might not change overnight, but you will, and that change will ripple out, affecting everything you touch. So, don't wait. Start today. Shift your perspective. Break the chains of self-doubt and limitation, and start creating the life you deserve. It all starts with one simple choice: to see yourself differently. And with that, the world will start to look like it's always been waiting for you. Pain, it's inevitable. We all face it at some point in our lives. Loss, failure, heartbreak, betrayal. These are the universal experiences that unite us. No one escapes it, not the rich, not the famous, not the ones we think have it all together. Pain knocks on everyone's door. But here's where the narrative shifts. Pain doesn't have to break you. It can build you. It can shape you into someone more resilient, more capable of achieving greatness than you ever thought possible. Stoicism, this ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time, tells us that pain is not the enemy. The obstacles we face, no matter how crushing or devastating, they're not here to stop us. They are here to teach us. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers and emperors, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These words are powerful. They change the way you see adversity. Imagine that every obstacle you face, every struggle you endure, has the potential to move you forward. What once seemed like an insurmountable barrier could, in reality, be the very stepping stone you need to rise higher. This shift in perspective is everything. When faced with hardship, you have two choices. You can let it crush you, let it drag you down, keep you stuck in despair, or you can let it forge you. You can let it mold you into someone better, stronger, wiser. The choice is always yours. And that choice, how you respond, defines your story. But how do you make that choice? How do you stand tall when everything in you wants to collapse under the weight of your struggles? The first step is realizing that pain doesn't define you unless you let it. It's how you choose to respond to it that matters most. What if I told you that your greatest strength will come from your greatest pain? Think about it. It's easy to believe that strength comes from victories, from success, from the moments when everything goes right. But those aren't the moments that truly build character. No, your greatest strength will come from the hardest times in your life. The moments when you felt like giving up. The moments when you were knocked to your knees and thought there was no way out. It's in these moments that you are forged, that you discover just how much strength you really have. Look at Beethoven, for example. He lost his hearing. Imagine that, the very thing that allowed him to create his music, the ability to hear, was slowly taken away from him. Most would have been crushed by this loss. Most would have given up, felt like their purpose was no longer possible. But Beethoven didn't give in. He didn't stop composing. In fact, he composed some of the world's most beautiful, timeless music in the silence of his suffering. His pain became his power. It became his source of creativity, of expression, of transcendence. You don't need to be a genius to find strength in your pain. What Beethoven had was an unwavering belief that he could create, that he could rise above the limitations that life threw at him. That's what you need too. You don't need a special talent or extraordinary circumstances. What you need is the willingness to face your pain head on, to use it as fuel, to let it transform you. Pain, when confronted and embraced, becomes the very thing that makes you stronger. It's like a blacksmith forging metal in the fire. The process is intense, painful, and demanding, but the result is something far stronger than the raw material ever was. You, too, can be forged in the fire of your pain. It's all about how you respond to it. But it's hard, isn't it? We want to avoid pain. We try to run from it, numb ourselves to it, push it down. We tell ourselves that if we just keep busy, keep distracted, we can avoid it. But that's not how it works. Pain, like everything else, must be faced. You can't outrun it, and pretending it doesn't exist only makes it more powerful. It's when you stop running, when you face your pain with courage and acceptance, that it starts to lose its power over you. It becomes something you control, rather than something that controls you. The Stoics teach us that we can choose our response to pain. They didn't say that pain would disappear. They acknowledged it, accepted it as part of life. But they also said that we have the power to decide how we will allow it to affect us. We don't have to let it defeat us. We can use it to build ourselves into the person we're meant to be. And here's where things get interesting. You might be wondering, how exactly do you transform pain into power? How do you harness the lessons hidden within your struggles? The answer lies in changing your perspective. Look at pain not as something that's happening to you, but as something that's happening for you. Each hardship is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become more resilient. It's about seeing every challenge as a chance to prove to yourself how strong you truly are. I can speak from my own experience when I say that the hardest moments in my life have led to the greatest moments of growth. I've faced obstacles that made me question everything. I've felt like giving up, like walking away from it all. But every time I pushed through, every time I kept going, I discovered a strength inside of me that I didn't even know existed. I found resilience I didn't think I had. I found courage in the face of fear. This is the power of pain. It's not that it makes you invincible. It doesn't make you immune to suffering. But what it does is make you stronger, more capable of facing whatever comes your way. You learn how to rise after every fall, how to keep moving forward no matter how difficult the path may seem. And that, my friends, is the power of transformation. You don't have to be a philosopher, or a genius, or even particularly strong to use pain as a tool for growth. You just need the courage to face it, to let it teach you, and to keep moving forward. Every hardship is a lesson. Every struggle is an opportunity to rise higher. It's all about how you respond to it. So, what will you do the next time pain knocks on your door? Will you let it crush you, or will you rise? The choice is yours. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Everywhere you turn, there's something demanding your attention. The constant buzz of social media, the endless news cycles, the relentless expectations from work, family, society. It's easy to get caught up in the noise, to be pulled in 1,000 different directions, all at once. But have you ever stopped and asked yourself, am I living according to my values? Or, more hauntingly, am I just following a script that someone else wrote for me? This is a question we often avoid because the answer can be uncomfortable. It's so easy to fall into the routine, to go through the motions of life without ever truly questioning if we're on the path we truly want to be on. The world around us is constantly trying to tell us what success looks like, what happiness should feel like, what our priorities should be. But what if all of that is a distraction? What if what we've been chasing isn't really what matters at all? Stoicism teaches us something fundamental. True peace doesn't come from external achievements or external validations. True peace comes from within. It's not about what you own, where you live, or how many likes your latest post gets. It's about mastering your thoughts and focusing on what truly matters. At the heart of Stoicism is this idea that the external world, what's happening around you, the events that you can't control, the opinions of others, is ultimately out of your hands. We can't control other people's actions. We can't control the future. And we certainly can't control everything that life throws at us. But what we can control is how we respond, how we perceive the world, and most importantly, how we choose to focus our energy. Stoicism tells us that peace isn't found in the chaos of the world. It's found in the stillness within. When you focus on what truly matters, you stop living for the approval of others. You stop worrying about what people think or how they judge you. You stop comparing yourself to others and start living for your own values. you begin to question the things you've always taken for granted, the things you thought you needed to be happy. You realize that peace comes not from achieving something externally, but from living in alignment with who you truly are. It's about creating an inner calm, an inner clarity, and a sense of purpose that doesn't waver with the tide of public opinion or societal trends. This focus on internal peace might sound simple, but it's anything but easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things to do. In a world that constantly pulls us in different directions, where we're constantly told we need to be more, do more, be somewhere else, it takes a lot of courage to stop and ask, what do I truly want? What truly matters to me? But that's the first step, finding out what's important to you, and then building your life around those values. Now, I'll be honest, this isn't a linear process. There are days when the distractions will win. There will be moments when you feel overwhelmed by the weight of expectations, when you feel like you're drifting away from your true self. I've experienced it myself. I've had moments when I felt the pressure of society's standards suffocating me, when I've questioned if I'm doing enough or if I'm where I'm supposed to be. It's normal. It's part of being human. But what Stoicism teaches is that these feelings, these moments of doubt, don't have to define you. They're not permanent unless you allow them to be. The key is to recognize them, acknowledge them, and then refocus on what truly matters. The Stoics had a powerful way of practicing this. They believed that you should take time every day to reflect on your actions, on your thoughts, on your priorities. You should ask yourself, did I live according to my values today? Did I do the things that align with the person I want to be? It's in this daily reflection that you can begin to recalibrate your life, pulling yourself back to what truly matters. You start to notice where you're getting off track, where you're being pulled by the tide of external pressures, and you can bring yourself back to center. But this practice isn't just about reflection, it's about action. It's about consistently making choices that align with your values, even when the world around you seems to be pushing you in a different direction. It's about saying no to the distractions, saying no to the things that don't serve your higher purpose, and yes to the things that bring you peace, fulfillment, and a sense of meaning. There's something liberating about this. When you start focusing on what truly matters, you begin to feel lighter. You stop carrying the weight of other people's expectations. You stop feeling like you're constantly running a race, trying to keep up with the never-ending demands of society. Instead, you start to live with intention, making decisions that are aligned with your true purpose. And the beauty of this is that it doesn't just create peace for you, it radiates outwards. When you live authentically, when you live in alignment with your values, you inspire others to do the same. You become a beacon of calm in a world that is often filled with noise and chaos. Your peace becomes contagious. You start to attract the right people. The people who appreciate you for who you truly are, not for the image you project or the persona you've created to fit in. And the more you align with your true values, the more you'll notice that life starts to flow with more ease. The distractions, the pressures, the noise, they begin to fade into the background. and you can focus on what truly matters. In my own life, I've learned the hard way that true happiness isn't found in the things we think we want. It's found in the quiet moments of alignment with our values. When I started focusing less on the external achievements and more on my internal peace, I began to notice a shift. My relationships became deeper, my work became more meaningful, and I felt a sense of fulfillment that I never knew was possible. It wasn't because my external circumstances changed drastically. It was because I changed how I viewed them. I learned to focus on the things that truly matter, and everything else fell into place. At the end of the day, we all have the power to choose where we focus our energy. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what matters. But by practicing daily reflection, by staying true to your values, and by choosing to live authentically, you can find the peace and fulfillment you're searching for. The world may keep throwing distractions your way, but when you focus on what truly matters, you'll find that those distractions lose their power over you. You'll be the one in control. You'll be the one leading your own life, not letting the noise of the world define who you are. The true measure of success is not what you achieve. It's not the accolades, the promotions, or the wealth you accumulate. Success, at its core, is about who you become along the way. It's about the person you are when you reach the end of your journey. And more importantly, the person you are becoming with every step you take. This concept may seem counterintuitive to a world that prizes results over process. But Stoicism teaches us a powerful lesson. The greatest victory is not conquering the world, but conquering ourselves. It's about mastering your thoughts, your reactions, your emotions, and your behaviors. It's about being able to look in the mirror and see a person who is calm, self-aware, and content, no matter the external circumstances. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to seek more, do more, and be more. There's a constant race, a never-ending competition to keep up with the next person, the next trend, the next goal. Society tells us that success is defined by what we have, by the titles we carry, by the numbers in our bank accounts. But if we're not careful, we risk getting trapped in a cycle of striving without ever truly feeling fulfilled. This is where Stoicism offers a radical shift in perspective. It teaches us that true success doesn't come from chasing external rewards. Instead, it comes from focusing inward and finding peace within ourselves. It's about aligning your life with your values, making choices that reflect who you truly are, and cultivating a sense of calm amidst the chaos of life. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds well and good in theory, but how do we actually do it? How do we achieve balance and true success when the world around us is constantly pushing us to chase more and do more? The answer lies in shifting our focus from the external to the internal. It lies in learning to value the process, not just the outcome. For example, think about the journey of personal growth. It's not an easy path. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes time, effort, and, most importantly, patience. But the more you focus on the process, on the small, everyday actions you take to become a better version of yourself, the more you start to realize that the true reward is in the becoming, not the end result. This is why Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-discipline. It teaches us to control our impulses, to act with intention, and to respond to life's challenges with wisdom and patience. It teaches us that we don't need to chase external validation because the only validation that truly matters is the one we give ourselves. When you can learn to master your own mind, when you can respond to life's ups and downs with calm and clarity, that's when you achieve true success. But here's the thing. Achieving balance and success in this way doesn't mean you stop pursuing goals. It doesn't mean you abandon ambition or stop striving for excellence. What it means is that you stop tying your worth to those achievements. You stop placing your happiness in the hands of external circumstances. Instead, you cultivate a sense of balance by grounding yourself in your values and focusing on the process rather than the outcome. For example, I've learned this lesson in my own life. There was a time when I thought success meant achieving a certain career milestone or acquiring a certain amount of wealth. I believed that when I reached those goals, I would finally feel complete. But the truth is, even when I achieved those things, there was always something missing. I was constantly chasing the next goal, the next promotion, the next big thing, thinking that once I got there, everything would fall into place. But it never did. I never felt truly fulfilled because I was looking for fulfillment in all the wrong places. It wasn't until I started focusing on who I was becoming in the process, rather than just what I was achieving, that things started to change. I realized that the pursuit of external rewards would never bring me lasting peace. Instead, I needed to focus on mastering my thoughts, managing my emotions, and cultivating a sense of calm within myself. It was only then that I began to experience true success, not in the sense of external accomplishments, but in the sense of internal peace and fulfillment. So, are you ready to change the way you see yourself? Because when you change the way you see yourself, you change the world around you, the way you view your life, the way you respond to challenges, and the way you interact with others. All of these things are shaped by your perception of yourself. If you can learn to see yourself as capable, resilient, and worthy of peace, then your world will reflect that. The external chaos may not disappear, but you'll have the tools to navigate it with grace and strength. True freedom comes when you realize that your happiness and fulfillment are not dependent on external circumstances. True freedom comes when you understand that your success is not measured by what you have or what you achieve, but by who you become. It's about finding balance within yourself and living in alignment with your values. It's about being able to walk through life's storms without being shaken by them, knowing that no matter what happens, you are enough, and that's the path to true freedom, the freedom to be yourself, to live authentically, and to find peace in the midst of life's challenges. But here's the ultimate question. Will you walk it? Will you choose to focus on the process, to cultivate self-discipline, and to master your mind? Will you choose to see yourself not as a product of external achievements, but as a person worthy of peace and fulfillment just as you are? The choice is yours, and when you make that choice, you will find that true success is not something you need to chase. It's something that will find you when you focus on becoming the person you're meant to be. Imagine your mind as a garden. Now think about what you've been planting in that garden. If you've been planting seeds of doubt and fear, what do you think will grow? Stagnation, frustration. The weeds of self-doubt will overrun the space, and you'll be left wondering why nothing seems to move forward. But what if you started planting something else? What if you replaced those seeds with self-belief, persistence, and confidence? What kind of garden would you have then? A garden full of growth, a garden of success. The truth is, your mind is no different. What you plant in it is what will bloom, for better or for worse. Limiting beliefs. Those stories you tell yourself about what you can or can't do are not truths. They are simply stories, narratives that you've woven through repetition, through past failures, through fear. These beliefs are like walls you've built around yourself, walls that trap your potential and keep you locked in a place of mediocrity. The problem is, those walls are often an illusion. They are built on nothing more than fear, doubt, and past experiences that no longer have power over you unless you allow them to. Stoicism teaches us that what truly holds us back is not our circumstances, but how we perceive and respond to them. The external world can throw a million challenges your way, but the real question is, how will you respond? Will you see those challenges as obstacles to your success, or as opportunities to grow? Will you view setbacks as permanent roadblocks, or as lessons that can propel you forward? Stoic philosophy teaches us that we have the power to choose our response. And this is where we begin to break free from the chains of limiting beliefs. Epicurus, a Stoic philosopher, once said, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxiety about real problems." Think about that for a moment. How many times have you worried about something that never actually happened? How many times have you held yourself back because you imagined failure before you even took the first step? This is the nature of limiting beliefs. They aren't rooted in reality. They're rooted in fear, in the what-ifs and maybes. And it's these imagined fears that hold us hostage. So how do you break free from these limiting beliefs? How do you change the way you see yourself and unlock the potential that lies dormant within you? The first step is to identify and confront them. This is where the real work begins. The next time that voice in your head whispers, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," ask yourself, why do I believe this? Is this really true? Ask yourself, where is the evidence that supports this belief? Most of the time, you'll find that the belief isn't based on any concrete evidence. It's rooted in fear, in past mistakes, or in the opinions of others. When you begin to ask yourself these questions, you start to see the cracks in the walls you've built. You start to realize that your limiting beliefs are not facts. They're just stories you've told yourself over and over again. And once you see them for what they truly are, they start to lose their power over you. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Breaking free from limiting beliefs takes time. It takes courage, but it starts with the willingness to challenge the thoughts that hold you back. You have to be willing to confront the stories you've been telling yourself and rewrite them. You have to be willing to question the assumptions you've made about your own capabilities. When you start to do this, you will begin to shift your mindset. You'll start to see yourself in a new light, as someone who is capable, resilient, and deserving of success. But confronting your limiting beliefs is just the beginning. The next step is to replace those beliefs with something more empowering. When you recognize that the story you've been telling yourself is based on fear and doubt, it's time to write a new story, one that is rooted in self-belief, in persistence, in courage. This is where Stoicism offers another powerful tool, the practice of self-reflection. Every day, take time to reflect on your thoughts and actions. Ask yourself, am I living according to my values? Am I making choices that align with the person I want to be? This reflection is crucial because it helps you stay grounded in your intentions and purpose. When you can consistently evaluate your thoughts and actions, you begin to notice when you're slipping back into old, limiting patterns. And when you catch yourself, you can course correct. You can replace those old thoughts with new ones that empower you. One of the most powerful practices in Stoicism is the concept of amor fati, the love of fate. This means accepting everything that happens in your life, both good and bad, as something that is part of your journey. It means recognizing that every experience, every challenge, and every setback has something to teach you. Even failure is an opportunity to learn and grow. When you embrace this mindset, you stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. You stop letting fear dictate your actions and start taking bold, confident steps toward your goals. But how do you make this shift in practice? It starts with small, consistent actions. Start by setting small goals for yourself and taking one step toward them every day. This doesn't have to be a giant leap, just a small, intentional action that gets you closer to your goal. As you begin to take action, you'll start to build momentum. You'll start to see that you are capable of achieving what you once thought impossible. And with each small success, your belief in yourself will grow stronger. This is how you break free from limiting beliefs. You replace them with action, with persistence, and with the belief that you are worthy of success. You stop waiting for permission, and you start taking responsibility for your own life. You realize that the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the story you've been telling yourself. And once you change that story, everything changes. I've been there. I've had my own limiting beliefs that held me back. I've doubted my abilities, feared failure, and wondered if I was good enough. But I've also learned that those beliefs are just stories that I can rewrite. Every time I faced my fear and took action, I broke down another wall. Every time I took a step forward, I chipped away at the doubts that held me back. And now, I can look back and see how far I've come, not because of some external achievement, but because I've become someone who believes in herself. someone who refuses to let fear dictate her life. This journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. Breaking free from limiting beliefs is the key to unlocking your true potential. It's the key to living a life that is authentic, fulfilling, and aligned with your values. And the best part, it's within your power to change it. All you have to do is start on the journey of self-discovery and personal transformation. Many people believe that motivation is the key to success. We've all felt that rush, the initial spark that ignites our passion and drive. Whether it's the beginning of a new project, the start of a fitness routine, or the excitement of setting a big goal, motivation pushes us forward, filling us with energy and enthusiasm. It's thrilling, isn't it? That surge of inspiration that makes you feel like you can conquer anything. But here's the truth. Motivation is only the beginning. It's the spark that gets the fire started. But it's discipline and perseverance that keep it burning long after the initial excitement fades. Stoicism teaches us that motivation alone will never be enough to carry you through the long, difficult road ahead. True success, true transformation, comes from mastering yourself, and that takes discipline. Self-mastery is true freedom. It's the ability to control your impulses, to stay focused on your goals, and to keep moving forward even when the journey becomes tough. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or waiting for motivation to strike again. It's about showing up every single day and doing the work even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the tool that gets you there. You see, discipline doesn't rely on feelings or circumstances. It's not about waiting for the stars to align or hoping that the world will provide you with the perfect conditions. Discipline is the ability to stick to your commitments, to do what you said you would do, even when your enthusiasm has faded, even when the excitement has worn off. It's the quiet, persistent action that happens when no one is watching, when there's no applause, and when there's no immediate reward. Discipline fuels long-term success. It's the daily habits, the consistent actions, the small steps that accumulate over time and lead to real, lasting change. And let me tell you, discipline isn't glamorous. It's not as sexy as motivation. It's not filled with that rush of adrenaline that comes when you start something new. It's about doing what needs to be done, day in and day out, even when you're tired, even when the progress feels slow, even when it feels like no one notices. I've learned this lesson the hard way. There have been countless times in my life when I felt that initial burst of motivation, only to watch it fizzle out a few weeks later. It's easy to start things with enthusiasm. It's easy to jump into a new goal with all the excitement in the world. But as time passes, when things get tough, when obstacles arise, that initial excitement can quickly fade. That's when discipline becomes your lifeline. That's when the rubber meets the road. It's in these moments that discipline separates the successful from the unsuccessful, the achievers from the dreamers. The ones who succeed are the ones who are able to keep going, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. They are the ones who show up, even on the hard days, even when it feels like progress is non-existent. They are the ones who refuse to quit, who keep moving forward even when the road gets steep. And it's not because they have superhuman willpower. It's because they've mastered the art of discipline. Discipline isn't a one-time decision. It's a practice. It's something you build over time, through consistent action. It's about creating habits that align with your values and goals, and then sticking to them, no matter how hard it gets. It's about developing the mindset that you will not be swayed by the ups and downs of motivation. When you cultivate discipline, you don't rely on fleeting emotions or external factors to drive you. You learn to rely on your own commitment, your own ability to persevere. Let's take a look at how this plays out in real life. Think about any goal you've ever set for yourself, whether it's something big like writing a book, or something smaller like working out every day. In the beginning, it's easy. The motivation is high. The excitement is palpable. But as time goes on, the novelty fades, the initial thrill wears off, and the days start to blur together. This is the point where most people give up. It's when the motivation has dried up, and the work feels hard. But discipline is what carries you through. It's the ability to keep going, even when you don't feel like it, to stick to your routine, even when it feels like you're not getting any closer to your goal. I've had my own struggles with this. There was a time when I was working on a personal project that I was incredibly passionate about. At first, I was filled with excitement, working late into the night, pouring my heart into every detail. But as the weeks passed, the thrill started to fade. The work became harder, the setbacks started piling up, and the progress felt slower and slower. I began to question whether it was worth it. I felt the familiar pull of doubt and frustration. But what kept me going wasn't motivation. It was the commitment I had made to myself. I reminded myself that success isn't about waiting for motivation to strike. It's about showing up, even when it feels like you're not making progress. And that's exactly what I did. I kept showing up. I kept working, even when the enthusiasm was gone. I didn't let the lack of excitement stop me. Slowly but surely, I started to see the results. It wasn't an overnight success, but it was steady, incremental progress. And that, to me, is the essence of discipline. It's not about quick wins or instant gratification. It's about long-term persistence. So how can you apply this to your own life? Start by making small, consistent changes. Look at your goals and break them down into manageable steps. Commit to taking action every day, no matter how small the action seems. Even on the days when you don't feel like it, show up. Don't rely on motivation to get you through. Instead, rely on your discipline, on your commitment to your goals. And remember, discipline is not about perfection. There will be days when you slip up. There will be times when you miss a workout or fall behind on your project. But the key is to keep going. Don't let one bad day derail your progress. Get back on track and keep moving forward. Discipline is the quiet force that propels you toward your goals. One small step at a time. It's the difference between wishing for success and actually achieving it. And while motivation may get you started, it's discipline that will carry you across the finish line. The more you master discipline, the more you master yourself, and that is the true path to success. True strength lies within you. It's not something that's given to you by others, nor is it something you can find in the external world. A winning mindset isn't about defeating others. It's about defeating the limitations, fears, and insecurities that live within you. It's about rising above the doubts that cloud your judgment and taking control of your life. This is the foundation of true success, the unshakable belief that no matter the challenges you face, you can rise to meet them with calm and strength. Stoics teach us a profound lesson. No matter the circumstances, you always have control over your thoughts and emotions. You may not be able to control the world around you, but you can always control how you respond. The ability to control your thoughts is the first step to developing the winning mindset. And it is perhaps the most important. Think about it for a moment. What would it feel like to face the fiercest storm of your life, yet still stand firm, calm, and steadfast, to weather the chaos, the uncertainty, and the pain without losing your inner peace? That is the essence of the winning mindset. It's not about avoiding the storm, but about finding the strength to stand tall within it. When life throws its hardest challenges at you, the winning mindset allows you to face them with clarity and resilience, knowing that you have the power to control your own response. But how do you develop this mindset? What does it take to cultivate such unshakable strength? The answer is simple, though not always easy to implement. The first step is to control your thoughts. It begins with awareness, recognizing the negative thought patterns that arise when challenges emerge. How many times have you faced a setback and immediately thought, "I can't do this," or "This is too much for me"? These thoughts, while natural, are not the truth. They are just reactions, conditioned responses to fear or self-doubt. The key is to recognize these thoughts as they arise and make a conscious choice to replace them with more empowering beliefs. It's not about ignoring the challenges, pretending they don't exist, or forcing yourself to think positive all the time. It's about choosing to see the situation through a different lens, one that empowers you, rather than one that weakens you. When you train your mind to look at every challenge as an opportunity for growth, you begin to develop the mindset of a winner. Winners don't see obstacles as roadblocks. They see them as stepping stones, as necessary parts of the journey. But controlling your thoughts is just the beginning. The next step is to embrace failure as part of the journey. This is where most people struggle. We live in a society that prizes success and perfection, that shuns failure and mistakes. But in reality, failure is not only inevitable, it is essential. It's how we learn, how we grow, and how we find out what we are truly capable of. Think about every great success story you've ever heard. Did it come without failure? No. Every person who has ever achieved anything meaningful has faced setbacks, disappointments, and failures along the way. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is how they respond to failure. Winners embrace failure. They don't see it as something to fear, but as a necessary part of the process. Failure is not the end. It's a lesson. It's an opportunity to learn and to adjust your approach. Without failure, there can be no growth. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. They knew that failure wasn't something to avoid or be ashamed of. Instead, it was something to be embraced. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote about how to respond to setbacks. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the very things that seem to block our progress are the things that propel us forward. Once we learn to view them as opportunities rather than obstacles. So, if failure is an essential part of the journey, then the next step is to appreciate the process, not just the outcome, in a world that constantly emphasizes results and end goals. This might sound counterintuitive, but the truth is, it's the process, the journey, that shapes us into who we are. It's the daily work, the small actions, the setbacks, the lessons learned, and the persistence that build the foundation for true success. The outcome is important, but it's the process that transforms us. When you learn to appreciate the process, you shift your focus from immediate gratification to long-term growth. You begin to see value in the work itself, in the effort, in the small steps forward. It's in the process that you develop discipline, resilience, and mastery. It's where you discover who you truly are and what you are capable of. Personally, I've learned that when I focus too much on the end goal, I often lose sight of the progress I'm making in the moment. I've been guilty of chasing after the next big achievement without taking time to acknowledge how far I've come. But the truth is, the journey itself holds so much value. Every step, every challenge, every moment of persistence is what shapes your character and prepares you for the next phase of your journey. The winning mindset isn't about rushing to the finish line. It's about finding joy and purpose in every step you take along the way. It's about recognizing that every small effort is a building block for your larger vision. And when you can do that, when you can appreciate the process, you free yourself from the constant pressure of needing to achieve, needing to be perfect, and needing to reach the end point as quickly as possible. You begin to live more fully in the present moment, taking each step with intention, focus, and gratitude. When you shift your mindset from, I need to succeed, to, I am growing with every effort I make, you unlock a deeper sense of fulfillment and success. And that is the power of the winning mindset. You might be wondering, how can you begin to adopt this mindset in your own life? The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to your thoughts. What do you believe about yourself when things get tough? What are the stories you've been telling yourself about your potential? Next, embrace failure. The next time you face a setback, instead of seeing it as a defeat, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience? Finally, begin to appreciate the process. Shift your focus from the outcome to the work itself, and find joy in every step you take. This is how you develop the winning mindset. It's not a quick fix. It's a practice. A mindset that requires consistent effort and commitment. But once you begin to adopt it, once you start living by these principles, you'll find that the storms of life can no longer knock you down. You'll become unshakable, steadfast, and unstoppable in the pursuit of your goals. The journey becomes the reward, and the winning mindset becomes the key to everything you want to achieve. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. This powerful statement holds the essence of Stoic philosophy, a belief that mastering oneself is the greatest victory of all. It's easy to think of strength as something external, like winning battles, achieving goals, or conquering obstacles. But the real battle, the one that shapes your destiny, is the internal one. It's not about defeating others or conquering the world around you. It's about conquering your own mind, emotions, and actions. And when you can do that, there is no external force that can defeat you. Think about it for a moment. If you can control your thoughts, if you can manage your emotions and actions, what can stop you when life throws its hardest challenges your way? When you face failure, disappointment, or even pain, you can face it all with the calm and strength that comes from within. Stoicism teaches us that the key to freedom lies in how we respond to what happens to us, not in the events themselves. It's not about what life throws at you, it's about how you choose to respond. This is the real victory, to be able to look at adversity and say, I am in control. I choose how to respond. I choose to rise. This is the mindset of someone who has conquered themselves. And this is where true freedom comes from. The ability to control how you react to life, to rise above challenges, and to maintain peace in the face of chaos. When you master yourself, everything else falls into place. The world will still throw challenges your way. That's inevitable. But what changes is your ability to navigate them. You stop reacting with fear, anxiety, or anger. Instead, you respond with clarity, purpose, and calm. You stop allowing external events to dictate your happiness. Your peace comes from within, and that is the power of self-mastery. Every great journey begins with a shift in mindset. It's not a sudden change, but a gradual transformation. It starts when you realize that you don't have to be a victim of your circumstances. You can choose to control how you respond. When you understand this, you realize that no matter how many obstacles come your way, you hold the key to your own success. You are the one who decides how to face life's challenges. And when you master that, when you conquer yourself, you'll find that nothing can stand in your way. You are not what happens to you. You are how you choose to respond to it. And this is the ultimate freedom. When you let go of the belief that you are a product of your circumstances, you step into your power. You realize that no external event, no matter how difficult, can define you. Only you have that power. So, the question is, are you ready to change the way you see yourself? Because that is the first step toward a life full of purpose, peace, and true success. It begins with the understanding that the greatest victory is conquering yourself. It's a journey that requires discipline, perseverance, and courage, but it's a journey worth taking. And when you take that first step, you'll find that the world is yours to conquer, not by controlling everything around you, but by mastering the one thing you truly have control over, yourself. And that, my friend, is where true strength lies.